Welcome to Agape Ministries. This is Pastor Sam, and today I'd like to introduce to you, I'm just walking and taking you on a virtual tour with me through this little beaten path. People jog a lot. This is what I just got done doing, and I wanted to share with you a phenomenal speaker and a true Christian, Brother Brandon Tatum. He is a former police officer from Arizona, and I just ran across his platform, YouTube, and his website. He is phenomenal, folks. All 43 million of you that are watching this on the dark web and on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't get as much traction with my information here. Go and watch, visit Brother Brandon's website. It's tatumreport.com. And he wants to be the next CNN, basically the true channel that speaks the truth and nothing but the truth. So we're going to support Brother Brandon, or we're going to be part of his Tatum squad. Basically, that's what we need to be supporting. Somebody as forthright and direct, and he doesn't mince words. He calls a spade, and that's what I'm very, very appreciative of, that we have such wonderful people about. So I want to encourage you to actually visit his website, visit his YouTube channel, and most definitely support him if you would. So all 43 million that are watching us, those who are able, go watch Brandon Tatum's online presence. So today I wanted to share with you, same topic here, the elections, the fraud that happened. Look, if Biden was hiding in his home basement while Trump was campaigning in all 50 states, obviously he knew something was about to happen. And as Brother Brandon says, and rightly so, everything is fixed or rigged. So in other words, if they knew they had a way to manipulate votes, so no matter what happens, you just push a few buttons on your computer screen, on your keyboard, and the numbers will come out in your favor. Of course, he doesn't need to campaign anywhere. So that's exactly what Brother Brandon was talking about. And we need to do something about this, folks. We cannot sort of lay down and allow this to happen. And this is why Trump is trying to reverse this condition with some lawsuits. So he's not willing to just walk away, which is great. That's what we need, somebody with a backbone to stand up and say, go fuck yourself, motherfucker. Something like that, street language. We need to hear more street language from the pulpit. So, Brother Brandon, I encourage you to occasionally add that colorful language just for emphasis. Not that we understand it's only for emphasis. We don't use it for any other purpose. So, and our audience is, they're all adults, so we don't have any children watching this, obviously. So, folks, enjoy this beautiful weather. Support Brother Brandon Tatum. And also, as you've heard me say before, we live in a demon-infested world with drugs, pornography. I'm not even going to mention alcohol and tobacco. I mean, this is minor compared to pornography and drugs that are, taking the minds of our fellow citizens, of our children, of our relatives, of our friends, of our fellow Christians. So, how do we get rid of this, folks? Obviously, you have to understand the root cause of this is demons. This is not as I often hear this debate, some Christians say, well, Jesus didn't heal a demon-possessed man, or an epileptic. This debate, whether or not it was a medical condition or it was a demon possession. Folks, it was a fucking demon possession. It says so. But how it manifested itself, the symptom matches epilepsy. So the same thing, a person who takes drugs, he takes drugs or mushrooms or any kind of drugs because he's influenced by the dark side. End of story. It's not a psychological. Yeah, if you talk to a psychiatrist would tell you, he has schizophrenia, he might have this, those are made up, names from the book of DSM. Now they have DSM-5. That's just this thick. It used to be this thick. They just want to push their names out there, folks. We as Christians, if we lose this battle, if we call a demon possession, something else, some kind of a medical term, it doesn't change the fact that people who are on drugs, they need help, they need prayer, And right now, I don't say that we need to kneel down. I say we need to be face down on the ground, asking God for his forgiveness, for our forgiveness, and for his guidance, basically. Remember, as Jonah went to the city of Nineveh, and he told Ninevites to fall on their faces, to be prostrate before God. This word, very few people know. Prostrate meaning face down, like this. Face down on the ground before God. It's a form of, reverence. It's a form of showing that you're a sinner. It's a form of wanting some help. And unless we're willing to do that, there is no help. You understand? This is all just cheap talk here. Cheap talk. Cheap. People in other countries, you go to Syria. By the way, Syria, that's where Damascus is. This is where Saul became Paul, one of the apostles. So he was on his way to Damascus. And we think it's some kind of a Muslim country, something rather. No, folks. There are many Christians who live in Syria, who live in Egypt, who live in other countries. Many countries out there that we think they're Muslim. They have millions and millions of Christians. And they're ready to die for their faith. And for us, if internet goes down, we cry like babies, like pussies, motherfucking wimps. What the fuck is that? What's wrong with you, bitches? Pull up your panties, bitches. What the fuck? So my mission here is to tell you that we must be strong. We must be praying face down, and we must have certain standards. So people in Syria, Christians in Syria, they're willing to give up their life for Christ, and we're not willing to stand up for anything we believe in. We're sort of like lukewarm Christians, and that is the problem today. This is why I say we must be prostrate before God, and this is the message today, that nothing else works today. By the way, look at this sort of a ivy that actually, it's very interesting. It circled around the tree to protect it from all the deer that's coming this way, and it's the only tree that has this sort of a thorny nature. I wish I knew my botany, but I'm not a botanist. So those of you who have a degree of botany, you could correct me. But looks like an ivy with some thorns. And we need to be protected just like that against the schemes of the devil, who actually deceives us into all kinds of lies, like what Brother Brandon said about transgender agenda. Not only just in Texas, in all 50 states, they're pushing this transgender motherfucking demonic fucking propaganda. Why don't you have guns, get out and fucking vote to where they cannot push this garbage on our children in schools? Why do you wait until they'll be publicly executing your children if they say, no, I believe in Jesus, and I'm not going to accept your demonic fucking transgender bullshit propaganda, pieces of shit, motherfucking demons in disguise? And by the way, Brother Brandon, kudos to your reporter, I forget his name, that filmed a lot of that footage of those, I'm not going to call them Antifa, they're fucking demon-possessed bitches. You understand? Demon-possessed fucking darkest creatures on the face of the earth. So what they get to a psychiatrist, they would be mentally ill people. But to us Christians, they're demon-possessed people who are financed by Chinese. So they bring through diplomatic channels $40 million in cash, in US dollars, to Washington, D.C. in diplomatic planes. And as you know, they have diplomatic immunity, so nothing goes through inspection or TSA, nothing. They bring in cash, they go to these inner cities, like Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and they distribute the cash to those mentally ill, to a psychologist, or demon-possessed people. And then they tell them their agenda, what they need to do and how they need to behave. And then we see this sort of footage that they call Antifa, whatever. That's nonsense, that's bullshit. Every fucking 5 seconds there's a new name. LGBT my fucking ass. It's another invention of the devil. And so they stir up trouble in those cities, and that's what we need to stop. We need to actually pull up our panties and stop this nonsense. That's the message of our ministry, is I speak the truth, And we need to support brother Brandon, who wants to create a channel that he can actually deliver that kind of information, because very soon this channel, this YouTube channel, could be turned off because they don't like it. You see, this is why I'm transmitting this first on the dark web, where they cannot get there. And 90% of the internet is on the dark web, and only 10% that you see on Google and YouTube is bullshit nonsense that's filtered by these certain interest groups. That's about 10%. 90% is dark web. So get a Tor browser, get that going, and don't be a fucking pussy, man. Stand up for your fucking faith, motherfuckers. I mean, don't be a fucking wuss, man. If you're a Christian, go tell them fuck themselves, motherfuckers. Those bitches that push this transgender fucking agenda on your children in school, or this homosexual agenda. What the fuck is wrong with you, bitches? Stand up for your fucking rights, whores, motherfucking. You're worse than the fucking bitches who are pushing this on you. Like Brother Brandon said, if there is a bully that pushes you, he told his son to punch him in the fucking face. Exactly right. I support that 100%. And nobody will ever fuck with his son ever again. That's right. And they're fucking with us as Christians. You understand? We need to have an army, fucking armed army, motherfuckers. 10 million strong. All have guns. What the fuck are you doing with your guns safely placed in your motherfucking safes, huh? What the fuck you do? You just sit there and you just wait for them to come and confiscate them? Say something at the very least. And if they say, well, you voted for Trump? Don't be a pussy and say, yeah, motherfucker. You got a fucking problem with that, bitch? Stand up for your fucking rights, man. Stand up. And this is the only way to deal with him. So I want you to support Brother Brandon. Go to tatumreport.com. And most importantly, just be genuine. You know, I want you to be, just look up Prophet Jonah when he went to Nineveh. He shared with people that they needed to be face on the ground for God to relent and not destroy the city of Nineveh. And God relented and he did not destroy. He spared the city. We're not doing that. See, I interviewed so many different people on the street. You know, I asked them, would you do that? Would you go prostrate before God destroys us? They said no. I said, how the fuck is you say no? We're gonna be fucking, we're already in the fucking toilet. What the fuck are you talking about? And they say, well, we're kind of, this guy Daniel that I interviewed a few weeks ago, he says, we're set in our ways. You're set in your fucking demonic ways, bitch. You need to be set in godly ways. If you were set in godly ways, you say, sure, of course, show me the way. I'll say, let's go pray. They're refusing to pray to God. And this guy has a ministry of some sort on the street. I don't know. But the point is, I spoke to a Catholic priest and I said, Father, do you, are you pro-life, pro-choice? He says, well, let me ask you a question. What is the purpose of your question? Meaning he couldn't say he was pro-life because he was afraid it would be some kind of a God knows what lawsuit on his ass, you know, biting in his diocese. It's bizarre, folks, when we have Christians, priests, who cannot stand up for their faith and confirm what they believe in. And they say, well, let me ask you a question. Why do you want to know if I'm pro-life or pro-choice? I mean, let me just rephrase this. There's this woman, her name is Mother Miriam. She is on Catholic radio station. See, that's a courageous woman. She calls abortion murder of babies. That's the spirit. We need to be like Google Mother Miriam as well. Very, very strong woman. She's on the Catholic radio all the time, and when she talks about the fraud in the with voting, the ballots, and everything else, and murdering of babies. So we have abortion, we have circumcision, we have the drug problem, which is demonic. By the way, about 1,500 psychiatrists got together, and they created a similar movement, just like what Brother Brandon is doing for the truth and information. You know, he wants to be this unique, beacon of truth in the media, which we're going to support you, brother. We're here. We're going to pray for you, and we're going to financially support your channel. This group of psychiatrists got together. They have a similar channel, a message against circumcision, because circumcision is genital mutilation. It's done by these Hebrew people who from generation to generation to generation are fucked in the head, man. They're cutting their penises off for some kind of a goddamn stupid covenant that somebody, you know, we don't even know if Abraham was given this sort of a this commandment, because it was taken straight from it was done by the Egyptians, you see. So the Egyptians were doing that. It was part of the genital mutilation routine, you know, how to keep people tame. It comes from Egypt. So today, when a couple, or usually, you know, we're so tormented now, we have single parents. So a mother walks into this doctor's office, and the doctor tells her, doctor in quotation mark, the doctor says, "Don't worry, your son will not feel a thing." So the mother sits and waits in a nearby room, and she hears her boy scream like you wouldn't believe. Like, "Mother, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was supposed to be trusting you to protect me. I'm only like a few days old, and you're cutting off a part of my penis, most sensitive part." So she hears that, she knows there's something wrong. And this boy is scarred for life. His family will be disintegrating. He will have trust issues. And this is what these psychiatrists are talking about, the damage that is done through circumcision, while these motherfucking bitches are taking $900 and cutting off the most sensitive part of a male anatomy. How fucked up is that? Why don't you stand up for that? So we need to support Brother Brandon's channel. We need to support anti-circumcision channel. We need to support, right now we need to support anything that's good, because good is being now called evil, and evil is being called good, which is exactly what our Lord Jesus Christ had predicted that will happen. He says in those days, everything will be topsy-turvy. And when you see that happening, and rumors of wars and wars and calamities in various places, earthquakes, you don't know that the end is near. And that's what we're discussing right now with this new technology, folks, which belongs to an interest group that, you know, the Trilateral Commission. Look it up, folks. They've been pre-planning this for many, many generations. In the 90s, they already have pre-planned how the internet will be spreading, not just in the United States, but globally, in post-Soviet countries, in, you know, Eastern Europe and in Asia. And they even set the price point for the 56 kilobit connection, if you remember, in 1990.